Welcome to the SJ Child Show. Thank you for all your continued support. You can find us at sjchilds.org. Enjoy the show. Welcome back. Here's part 2 of Tim Goldstein, communications expert.
What it is. And what they intuit out of that is, oh, if I were doing that, that would mean I had a bad attitude about this thing. Mm. And then they just assign to you, oh, Tim has a bad attitude. When it has absolutely nothing to do with the bad attitude. It has to do with the fact that, I was saying something in a very clear manner, so nobody could, misunderstand it.
Exactly.
So that that whole intuiting it. So I love the idea of clear intentions because it's not just with autism.
Yeah.
How many neurotypicals would be so much happier if somebody actually told them exactly what they wanted instead of them trying to read their boss's mind and mind guess, what it is that's
workplaces, all the places is really where you should try to have those clear intentions with people. So I better start working on this.
I like it. I mean,
graphics.
I like it so much because it does. It really does tie in. So I think that's one of the big challenges as an autistic adult is people are misinterpreting the intention.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's like the gentleman that I was talking about that fired me for telling him about the fake guru.
Yeah.
Well, his as far as he could tell, I mean, my intention was to, stir up trouble and strife and cause him problems.
Somebody, right.
Which had nothing to do with my intentions. My intentions were entirely that we're wasting a ton of money because not only are we paying this woman a fortune to be incompetent, but on top of that, we have other people that are supposed to be working with her and assisting her that are all wasting their time too. So.
Exactly. You were doing the right thing, and it's too bad that they couldn't see that that's what that was.
But again, if we were taught from, being young to be clear about our intentions and to forget this reading between the lines crap. Because I don't care, we could take 20 neurotypicals and none of them can read between the lines for crap. They just think they can.
Yeah.
And they can't. I mean, the reality is none of us, maybe there are some people with ESP. I'm not discounting it. Sure. It's entirely, it's entirely within the realm.
Out of this.
But maybe there are people out there that can do it very well. But I don't think the majority of the world can actually get somebody's, intention if they don't say it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday when I was in this live, I said exactly this. And I think this is a really great thing to bring in is that I just dinged myself out of existence in my head for some reason. You know how that goes, right? I made a sound and that's all I could focus on.
ADHD rabbit just ran through.
Exactly, I know. It's awful. It's awful. But come on, brain, catch back up with yourself. Well, anyhow, I hate it when this happens, but that's okay.
In that case, I'm going to bring us back to something that I said I was going to write down, but I didn't write it down, but I didn't forget it either. And that's the idea of neurodistinct.
Yeah.
So, we know about the concept of neurodiversity, right? I mean, Judy Singer in Australia came up with this concept. It wasn't what she wrote her thesis paper about. It was just kind of a little something in the thesis paper that was actually about something else. Related, but not, directly. And she came up with the term, I mean, first off, neurodiversity, which, is just the concept of, our brains, just like our ears and our eyes and everything, vary from human to human, genetic code, environmental factors, who knows what. And we accept, I have blue eyes, people have, I guess brown's probably the most common color. Some people have gray eyes. And we don't think of like, oh my gosh, blue-eyed person. There's something wrong there. I think blue is the rarest. So we don't like. We just say, oh, it's just normal humans. The way my wife puts it is, I wish I had your eyes, because all you have to do is change the color of your top, and they change with them. We don't think of that as being anything wrong. Yeah. But what we don't think about is the most complex organ in our body, which is our brain.
Yeah.
Okay, if our eyes can vary and our ear shapes can vary, why shouldn't our most complex organ vary?
Yeah.
And so the idea of neurodiversity is simply that, that variation is normal, and how it varies is going to cause you to think and perceive and process, in a particular general style. Obviously, we're
Yeah.
humans, we can learn other styles, but that's going to be your base nature. Um, so that's just neurodiversity. But then it breaks down into there's neurotypicals, right, which is the
Yeah.
majority of humans. And first off, everybody falls in neurodiversity. This is like diversity. People think that if I'm not in a marginalized group, I'm not part of diversity. No, all humans are part of diversity, just like all humans are part of neurodiversity.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
you may be in the group that's the majority group, but you're still part of the game.
Yeah.
You may be in the group that's the problem, but you're still part of the game. um, so neurotypical, I'm cool with that word. I think people understand it pretty well. Even if you don't explain it. Neuro, right? Head, brain, thinking. Typical. Oh, so like the common typical way people think. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't
Yeah.
feel bad if somebody uses that word. But the other term that Judy used was this term called neurodivergent. Well, if you want to come off as being an arrogant jerk, it's a wonderful term to use. But first off, it's not self-descriptive. So nobody can understand it unless it's explained to them. So it has no meaning other than if it's explained, as opposed to neurotypical, which is pretty self-explanatory. And now also neurodivergent. If you just think of the roots, diverge, divergent, it's like got negative connotation to it. It's got negative emotional weight to it. I don't want to be neurodivergent. I'm not like that. That's like, do I need to put my mask on again? I mean, right. Oh, there's neurodivergence coming over. Oh my God, let me mask up and put my gloves on. So I just think it might be a great academic word, but it is a horrible word to use when you're describing a group like autism. And we know in the, that group, the non-neurotypicals, there's ADHD, there's dyslexia, there's a ton of different named and unnamed conditions.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this for, I don't know, probably was 2 years. I was thinking about this, that I hate the term. I just hate the term. I won't use the term, just refuse, period. So what other term can I use? Now, I wanted it to end up with ND because we often talk about NT versus ND. So it needed to be ND. So think about it. Finally, I go hiking. I hike pretty often. I live right, Rockies are 10 minutes away. So, hiking's a regular thing for me. So I'm going out hiking and I'm thinking about this as I'm hiking, and it finally just clicks. Neurodistinct. Now, first off, like neurotypical, it's self-descriptive. Neuro, way you think and such, distinct. You think in a distinct manner. That's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And secondly, how many people do you know that don't want to be distinct in something?
Sure.
Whether it's their career, whether it's their family, whether it's right. So that's why I mentioned way earlier, I don't use the I use neurodistinct because
I'm so glad too.
it's self-descriptive.
Yeah.
So people don't think you're an arrogant jerk when you use it, because I'm convinced that that is another challenge, particularly with well-educated autistic individuals. They're very proud of all that they learned, and they deserve to be very proud of it. I don't want to take anything away. I mean, what they accomplished is great, but you sooner or later have to learn that you can't rub everybody's face in it all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use your PhD-sized words because you got your PhD, I mean, congratulations, you got your PhD. I respect all the effort and work that went into it, but don't rub everybody's face in it by using PhD-sized words everywhere.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you do, what do people start thinking? What an arrogant jerk that person is. Because first they go, I don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Then they go, they're making me feel pretty stupid. I don't like feeling stupid.
Yeah.
And then they go to, it's you. You're the arrogant jerk that's making me feel stupid.
Oh, goodness.
Right?
Oh,
so,
it's so true.
So that's again another reason why I don't like using neurodivergent. And I think a lot of this comes from I do have a marketing background. I have created, developed, and sold all kinds of products around the world. So I recognize that you need to communicate in the language of the audience.
Yeah.
And neurodivergent is not in the language of the majority of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But neurodistinct, they can figure out all by themselves and not feel like an idiot. It's pretty obvious to them what you're talking about.
That's so interesting. And it reminded me of what I forgot earlier, and that was that, it's so hard to be sensitive to everybody's ideas and to always use the right language. Like it's so hard not to, or if you do slip up and say neurodivergent, right, or something, and you're just really, I really just told everyone in this thing I did yesterday, like, my intentions are love and inclusion and kindness, and no matter what kind of mistakes I may say with my word dyslexia sometimes, it has nothing to do with the intentions I'm trying to create and come across by. So I hope people know that and see that we're always learning. You know, I was maybe 25 to 30 episodes into my podcast when somebody said, you know, when my parents said that they were devastated that I had received a diagnosis, it carried throughout my life with me, and it hurt my self-esteem and all of these things. And I had been advocating, or I mean, supporting new parents and saying it's okay to feel. I don't even want to use the word devastated. I don't even like it. It's like, I don't use it anymore now that I've learned, now that I know that really hurt someone. Like, oh my gosh, that affected me so much. And now I just tell parents, you know, yes, it can be overwhelming, but there are strategies and steps to take to support and to help, you know, find those language barriers to cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I think it's so important, though, that we recognize people's clear intentions. That's my intention, people.
I love that clear intentions.
Thank you.
You got to have a banner or something behind you of clear
I
intentions.
definitely. We better make it up.
You know, you said something that made me think of something, and then of course I got myself sidetracked.
Did the same thing with me. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. It'll come back. Or as my mother used to say, it must have been a lie.
Oh, that's interesting, right? Not my husband says, well, that wasn't important enough to talk about
Oh,
then.
it came back to me.
One.
Okay, it came back to me. I got it now. So, you know, where I work, they have a number of different mailing lists that are oriented around autism. I mean, there's one that is you have to get let in group where it's autistic individuals. So they're talking about, you know, being autistic in the workplace and such. But there's another one that is about primarily for parents of autistic children. And I do subscribe to it, and I do read it occasionally, and it usually pisses me off. Because it's the same old, oh, we have to cure and fix the kid and turn them into being neurotypical, basically. Of like, you know, your 18-month-old just got diagnosed and we need to put him in speech therapy right now. I mean, it's like, this stuff is crazy.
It is.
So what dawned on me was, when you think about where are these people getting the information, all they know is what the medical system is telling them. And the medical system is a deficit-based system. So I decided what they really needed to do was they needed to hear from autistic adults.
Yes.
So that, you know, they've actually got a viewpoint of, well, first off, that, you know, your kid could grow up and be on Elon Musk, baby. You know, that's a possibility. Could grow up and be me or you, you know,
exactly.
that's a possibility. But I just thought that they needed to do that. So I, you know, fortunately work at a company that gives you a lot of leeway to get away with a lot of stuff. And I started a new group that was, we call it the Autism Convergence Group. And what we do is I bring in, well, I just work on arranging the speakers. I got other people to run the group. I'm not a good administrator. I'm a good creator. So I have learned to hand off to people that are better than me at those things. So we bring in autistic individuals, mostly. Occasionally we'll bring in somebody who's not autistic, but has, you know, good reason they're parallel to or whatever. But the first person we brought in was Dr. Lutz Ireland out of Australia. You know, Dr. Lutz is both ADHD and autistic, has a special needs daughter that's diagnosed as ADHD, but Lutz is convinced that she's also autistic. And seeing as Lutz lives with her and Lutz has a, you know, PhD and is a therapist, I'm going to believe her that she can diagnose her own kid pretty well. So, you know, here she is. We, you know, first off, I wanted the first speaker to be a female, just to break everybody's image that women can't have autism.
Right.
Yes. And, she was the head of neurodiversity for the Queensland School District. She's won 5 Australian Design Awards in 5 different categories.
Wow.
I mean, this is amazing. Um, Dr. Dave from Vanderbilt's Frisch Center on Autism and Innovation, he, agreed to come and speak to the group. Dr. Dave's, I don't know, mid 40-ish or so, adult diagnosis, autism, of course, runs the Frisch Center on Autism and Innovation at Vanderbilt, and has 3 kids. 2 of them are autistic. 1 girl, 1 boy autistic, another girl not autistic. And it's something, one thing he talked about was, and I can't remember whether it was the boy or the girl, but one of the 2 children. The doctors were telling him that, they have delayed speech and you need to get them into speech therapy and you need to, and he did nothing. Absolutely nothing. That was his response. Nothing. And you know what? When the kid was ready to speak, the kid started speaking just perfectly fine. And now that's the difference of being an autistic adult raising an autistic kid is, when they're ready, they're going to do it. There's not a problem.
Absolutely.
But they don't get to hear this from the,
the general public or their family aunts telling them, hurry and get it done.
Right. So it's been extremely well received, and it's really changed a lot of parents' view of what is the potential for their kid. Yeah. When they suddenly find out that there's hundreds of us autistic individuals working at at Google.
Yeah.
And none of us came in through an autism program or anything. We just got jobs there and went to work.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and I think that it's so important when we help parents see that by changing their own mindset, that's how they'll change their relationship with their child. Changing their child won't do anything but cause discontent and distrust and all of the other things. So,
well, there's a reason that the average age of death of the autistic individuals is like upper 30s.
30 something, right?
Yeah, I think it's 38, but it might be 39. It's upper 30s. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is suicide. Because if you've been told since you've been old enough to actually understand anything that, no, that's not how you do it. That's wrong. That's the wrong way to do it. You're wrong. That's not right. At what point do you just finally say, I'm done with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't please anybody. No matter what I do, it's just never good enough, fast enough, big enough. And often they're brilliant people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully I'm changing that for my kids and doing things differently. I had said earlier that I felt bad that I had done things wrong with the first child, but there were other things that were in play with that continued. But I guess the point was that I saw how much control I had to have over everything and took away from her, which then made her suffer. And now I give my kids all of the control and just say, stay within these boundaries and you can have all the control you need and want. Mm-hmm. So when people hear that they don't have a sleep time or that they can eat whatever they want, guess what happens? They eat healthy. They eat just as much as they need and not more, which means they're like physically healthy. And it's crazy. I'm not shoving different foods in their mouth saying you have to eat this has to be done. My son saw a cooked pasta on the noodle that had fell on the floor and he gagged himself all the way out of the room. So that's how hard food is with my family. Oh, it's just great.
I think one of the things, and it definitely, the way you're describing it, it sounds like you're very much doing this, is I don't think parents, particularly parents of autistic children, are willing to allow the kid to fail.
Yeah.
And if you live in a world where everybody protected you from failure, you're going to be a failure as an adult.
Yeah.
The way I like to say is, why is it with all the other kids, we think about whatever it is they want to do. They want to go into band. They want to get into, a sport. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. They want to go on this field trip that's, to wherever. And we think about how is that going to affect their future? How is it going to affect them, long-term? Is that going to be good for them long-term? Whereas with autistic kids, we simply think of, well, get us through the day. Mm-hmm. And we're doing things that long term are harmful to the kid. If you don't allow the kid to learn to fail,
Exactly.
well, you know what? Like I say, I've invented and developed lots of different things that, have gone on to be very good commercial successes. Um, my wife always used to think that I always just managed to pull off everything perfectly every time. What she didn't know was I only showed her the first one that turned out right.
Yeah.
I failed like, I don't know how many times. When I started my
Right.
manufacturing business, I was trying to learn to run this machine the size of a car that I'd never in my life even touched one, but I owned one now. And I was probably destroying $1,500 worth of stuff a night trying to learn how to use it. That's like, that hurts.
Yeah.
But it ended up being that, the part I was trying to develop ended up being one of our best sellers and, brought in a huge amount of income over the 10 years I kept the company. But if I hadn't been given the leeway to fail, when I was younger, so that it didn't become oh God, I failed. I can't, that's it. I give up. I quit. I'm never going to do it again because I failed once. Instead, what I learned was, good, figure out why you failed and do it again. Just don't do it that way this time.
Isn't that the truth? We were just, this is so funny. It has everything and nothing to do with exactly what you said. But we were at on a field trip at a skating rink, and my daughter roller skated for the first time, and they had like these little guards that she could use, and she went out, and I was proud of her for being brave enough to use them anyways, because kids just want to fit in, and
Right.
She's really, really tall for her age, and all these little kids are using them, but she was just like, I have to, like, I can't do this otherwise. And every time she fell and got back up and fell and got back up. Like, I was so proud of her. And it was like these moments over and over again where I was like, yes, get back up. Yes. Don't stop. Keep going. Like, she didn't get off the roller rink and just stop. Like, she just kept going. And I was just so proud of all the falling, right? Because that's how she's going to learn how to keep getting back up.
That's really interesting you say that, because I just happened to watch a video, a short little clip from a gentleman I consider to be one of my mentors. And I actually haven't seen him in a number of years, but for a while I participated in a lot of his things and such. And what he was talking about was that winners don't lose, encouragement. Winners don't have crappy, don't not have crappy days. That, winners don't have things that, never go wrong. The difference is winners have all those things, but winners get back up and do it again.
Yeah.
Losers give up.
Stop right there. Mm-hmm.
And even if you give up as a winner, you can give up as a winner. You can say, that's it, I quit. I'm never doing this again. But tomorrow you go back and you do it again anyways.
Yeah, right? Isn't that the truth?
So, it really comes down to, and his point in what he was saying. And if anybody wants to check him out, I'll give him a plug. Bo Eason is his name, B.O. Eason. And he was a football player, he's a playwright, and also an acclaimed Broadway actor. So he's kind of an interesting guy. His whole point about it was that it doesn't matter. I mean, this person that's the most successful person you've ever met in your life. I sat with some of those people in the rooms and talked to them. And I mean, people that you just go like, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm in the room with this person. And you know what? They have bad days. They have crap that goes wrong. But the difference is they get up and they go and do it anyways again.
Yeah.
And that's what his whole point was, that winners don't have everything go right. The only difference between winners and losers is winners get up and do it again.
Yeah. To just keep the perseverance, right?
That's
Keep
it.
them going.
But you got to learn to fail, so you to learn to have perseverance.
Isn't that the truth? That is so true. Absolutely. Well, I have had such a fantastic conversation with you today. We've gone so much longer than I expected us to go even. So I'm so happy that we were able to go over so many of these great topics. And, if people are interested to learn about the work programs or the things that you've created and things, do you have a website? I mean, I saw a couple things, but I'll let you go ahead and tell us where we can find the books and all of the good stuff.
Pretty much website wise, just go to timgoldstein.com. And there's all kinds of stuff there. And there's something on the front page where, you can sign up and get all my tip sheets, which are, while they're oriented around more the workplace, a lot of these are very applicable to many other situations.
Life skills and things.
Yeah. It's like communication of, teaching a manager how to manage an autistic employee in 10 easy tips.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who's got to deal with an autistic person should understand those 10 tips of be clear, don't give them 16 things to do at the same time, I mean,
exactly.
So they really do apply to a lot more things. And there's a lot of my writings and such in there. And then as far as social media goes, I'm, in spite of the fact of being a techie and, working for one of the biggest, media kind of companies in the world, I only use LinkedIn.
I can attest to that. I reached out to him and his wife contacted me.
That's right, on Facebook. And she got the messages because I never signed into the thing. So yeah, if on Facebook though, you want to contact me and catch me there, it's just a link, or not Facebook. I don't use that one. Never. I forget Facebook.
Forget Facebook.
Besides, that's not their name anymore anyways. It's, Meta or whatever.
Meta, right?
But LinkedIn is just linkedin.com/in/Tim Goldstein. It's a real easy one. I did that back, before everybody else stole all the good names.
That you had the good name already. It's great.
That's where to find that kind of stuff. And, I do podcasts. I speak a bunch. I'm actually just joined the board of directors of the Autism Society of America. So you'll be hearing, plenty from me.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Plus, you'll be presenting in the upcoming 1 in 44 Tour Summit that we're hosting.
I'm looking forward to that. That is.
I can't wait! Isn't that lineup
It is so cool what you're pulling together.
Thank you. I can't. It just is so meaningful, and it's going to be a really neat event. It's going to be really special and very good information, just brought by so many amazing folks.
Yep. I don't know. I still got to decide what it is I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. Perfect.
I don't know. Maybe I'll convince you for my session. What we need to do is you're going to come join me for my session. And we're just going to talk like this.
This isn't the first person I've heard this from. I guess I'll be doing lots of sessions that day. No, I'd love to. Absolutely. Anything that I can do to, be a part of it. I can't believe it's happening and becoming so real. And more and more sponsors are calling every day, and I just am like, are you kidding me? People, this is so exciting. So,
well, I just like to say, do you know what the difference between a wish and a want is?
Tell me.
A wish is when you wish that this kind of event would happen. Yeah. Oh, it'd be so great if this kind of event, if I could do this kind of event, it would be so great. That's a wish. A want is exactly what you did. Yeah. You put the effort in, you contacted the people, and to me, that's what I always, try to figure out from somebody. Yeah. Is it a wish or a want? If it's a wish, then I don't have time to mess with you.
Exactly.
But if it's a want, I'll do anything I can to get you there.
Oh, I love it. Yes. So I'm so glad. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And I'm gonna post or air this and edit it before the summit so that the people can get an idea of who you are too and everything. So I'm excited about that. So please just check back, and the description for the summit will be in the links. All of Tim's information will be in the links. And thank you so much for being my guest today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the next month until I see you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've had a great time chatting with you, and hopefully it helps some of your listeners and such. There's maybe a few pearls of wisdom in there, hopefully.
Of course. No, you did a fantastic job, and I just really honor the space that you held for me today and had here. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.